Hey guys, Angelo Escobar here, back with another update slash kind of revision to a video I just made recently entitled My Neon Yellow Shrimp Are Dying. Now, in the video, I was talking about different theories about what I think may have been happening to my neon yellow shrimp, and it bears importance that I redo this video after I have made some discoveries and findings about why they were actually dying. And I feel it's important to do this to clear the air because I was going off of some information that may well have maybe a tiny bit to do with it, but probably not. And I don't want anyone to have a bad view of a company or something when they don't deserve it. So let me explain what happened. I had ordered my pumpkin orange shrimp and my neon yellows from Aquatic Arts. And my pumpkin orange shrimp went in this tank, and they've been doing fantastic. And my neon yellows are in the tank down here, and they were dying. I'm down to about 4 of them when originally I had about 12. Now, when I was doing some research into why this may be happening, my parameters that I had tested were fine. The tank was fully cycled, and I was having a bit of a quandary to trying to figure out what might be the problem. And I had noticed other people who had bought from Aquatic Arts, with specifically the neon yellows, have been having problems with keeping them alive as well. And I was concerned as to whether or not maybe their genetics are just particularly weaker because of this color mutation or something more in-depth that I can't explain. I'm doing this video because I need to make sure that everyone understands that this was not Aquatic Arts' fault. In fact, it was my fault. Basically, there's an issue with API's master test kit. I made a newbie mistake, but it was an easy mistake to make given the situation. Let's go back just a little bit before all this. I had ordered my shrimp. They were coming in the mail. Then we had insane storms in the winter, like tornadoes, flooding, and everything. My basement was flooding, whatnot. That was very unusual for that time of the year. The water in my well became toxic and destroyed all the biological media in these tanks. I had to cycle the tanks, and I had to cycle them fast. The shrimp got here, they were in a breeder net in my established 40-gallon tank, which was fine. Now, in order to cycle the tank, that means I had to put ammonia in with the bacteria at a high temperature without any fish or anything in there, of course, in order to rebuild the bacterial colonies. And everything was going fine. And I had tested everything, and everything came out well. But when I decided that both tanks were good enough, after testing several times, to put the shrimp in, I put the shrimp in. However, there was residual ammonia in the tank, which got converted to nitrate. But here is where the problem is. The nitrate test from the API Master Test Kit has a fundamental issue that I want to talk about because it's such an easy mistake to make. First off, take a look at the nitrate. This is what it was. Then I did a half tank water change, brought it down halfway, another half tank water change, brought it down some more. And then I did another half tank water change, and I didn't test it yet again, but it's going to go down about half as much again. Now, why was it like that? Why did I not notice it was that toxic? Because if we look at the chart, that's around 40 parts per million. That is insane. That is not good. That is my fault. But at the same token, it's an easy mistake to make because let's talk about the nitrate test. Here's the thing about API Master Test Kits and the nitrate test. If you don't shake the living crikey out of these things, what happens is the chemicals inside of these bottles start to crystallize. The instructions tell you to shake them very vigorously in order to break down the crystallized structure and bring it back to a formula that it's supposed to be. Now, normally, because of this, I use a jigsaw, and you notice I have rubber bands on this. I just hook it up to the blade of the jigsaw and let the jigsaw shake it like crazy for a long time. And that breaks the crystallized structure. And I had done that when I had my tanks crash. Now, what I did do was underestimate how quickly it returns to a crystallized structure. It was only a few days apart that I needed to do these tests again. Now, what happened in between those 2 days is when the nitrates were down, everything, I was doing water changes, getting the tank cycled, and everything was good, right? Well, eventually, over those few days, the nitrate bottles, or a bottle that contains a chemical, returned to a crystallized structure. And when it does that, it gives you low readings, meaning it's going to show in like the 0 to maybe 5 or 10 parts per million range, which is survivable for shrimp, which is okay. But in reality, because the nitrate test was crystallized, it was not showing the accurate reading. In reality, there was still ammonia in that tank being converted to nitrate, and the nitrate was way higher than it should have been. This is an easy newbie mistake. That was my fault. And I'm emphasizing that this is my fault because I don't want Aquatic Arts to be blamed for something like this. Aquatic Arts did a fantastic job with communication between me and them, with shipping the shrimp. They did an excellent job with that. They did a great job breeding the shrimp. They're overall a very, very good company. And in fact, I plan to do more business with them. I like what they do, and I like their work. So this is important to me, to clear the air. The nitrate test crystallized way faster than I thought it would, resulting in a low test readout, making me think it was safe to put the shrimp in. And then they started dying, and I couldn't figure out why. So until, fast forward a week or two later, I went through and tested a ton of different parameters again, found out that, there's way more nitrate than there should have been because I shook the living bejesus out of the bottle again. That's what was killing them. It has to be because, that test is red, okay? That makes it in the 40 parts per million range. That's not good. That is toxic, especially to something sensitive like shrimp. That is why these little guys have been dying. Now, the pumpkin shrimp haven't been dying because I guess there wasn't as much ammonia to convert over to nitrate, which is why they've been doing great. And which was why I was a bit perplexed as to why those guys are doing good, but those guys weren't. Because like I was saying in the previous video, these are same tank setups, meaning same water from the same water source filled at the same time with the same filter, same bacteria, same substrate, same plants, same heater, pretty much the same temperatures within a degree or two variance. Same lighting, same day schedule, same light schedule, everything. It's all virtually the same. Yet these were dying. This tank in particular was having low readouts from the test kit. So, where does this leave us? This leaves me somewhat happy, believe it or not, because I figured out what the problem was before all of them died. And we're even seeing successful molting now. That is a successful molt. So, the yellow shrimp are much happier now. There is a female in there, and there are males, so there's a good chance that I will have a buried female eventually, and we'll have more shrimp babies in here, and it'll make up the difference in which I lost. Because if we look over here, that's the girl. You can see she's got a saddle, and her saddle will eventually turn into berries. She'll be buried, and then after that stage, the shrimp hatch and become little shrimplets. And as long as I can get to that point, I'll be fine. And their color is starting to get a lot better too. They're perking up, which is good. They're being more active, and Yeah. So this was important for me to do because, like I said, I don't want to blame a company for something like bad genetics. That's just not what happened. So, if it's my mistake, I want to make it very clear that it was my mistake, not someone else's. I don't like someone else getting blamed for something they didn't do. So, I'm a big enough man to admit when I'm wrong, especially when my own testing concludes that. But now, I'm happy to say I've found the problem and I shouldn't see any more shrimp deaths from my neon yellows, which is great. So now, I'm happy to say my shrimp tanks are all fully set up with their complete setups and whatnot. Well, that's not a shrimp tank, that's a fry tank, but they're all nice and set up the way they should be. All my shrimps are doing good now. And I can get back to doing what I like to do, which is breeding them instead of worrying about keeping them just alive. So, whew, a lot of talking in that one, huh? Anywho, that is the proper update as to what was going on. So, thanks for watching, guys. And seriously, if you haven't bought from Aquatic Arts, they really are a good company. I'm not getting paid or asked to say that. I'm just saying it based on my own experiences. They have done a great job. I've personally talked to the owner. He's a great guy. He answered a lot of questions, and I mean talk on the phone, and this was months ago. And, you know, he's a really cool dude, and they do a nice job. So, thanks for bearing with me, guys. I will see you next time, and maybe the next update I'll finally have baby shrimps.